So hello and welcome again with English, my dear friends. How are you all? To God grace, you all might be in good health. So let's continue with our lessons in English prose section, chapter 6, part 2. The 100 races, as we had gone through on page number 73. We all know the girls were teasing to Patroneski, Vanda about her dress, and when they had gone through the paintings by Vanda, lots of dresses were painted over there, and you can see we can say discriminations regarding girls. So now we are continuing with the next chapter by Prose Astor. While the class was circling the room, the monitor from the principal office brought Miss Mason a note. Miss Mason read it several times and studied it thoughtfully for a while. Then she clapped her hands. And then what happened? She clapped her hand as monitor brought a message, a note. Attention class. Everyone back to their seat. I would like this thing. Attention class. Please underline. Everyone back to their seat till here. Try to change into indirect form of narrations. You will go, you will get something. While the shuffling of feet had stopped and the rooms was still and quiet, Miss Mason said, I have a letter from Vanda's father that I want to read to you. There was a letter from Vanda was not coming at school from many days, and after going through her drawings, teacher, here, instruct something. Miss Mason stood there a moment and the silence in the room grew tense and expectant. The teacher adjusted her glasses slowly and deliberately. Her manner indicated that was coming. This letter from Vanda's father was a matter of great importance. Now teacher was going, as you all are making lots and lots of noise. Many complaints also you have given, shouting, but there is important note here for the student. So teacher adjusting her glasses, and due to her appearance, by her body languages, by her face reading, the student can understand that it was something important one. Everybody listened closely as Miss Mason read the brief note. What was the note? Dear teacher, my Vanda will not come to your school anymore. Jack also. Now we move away to big city. No more holler Polak. No more ask why funny name. Plenty of funny names in the big city. Yours truly, Jan Patrons. Superbly written. Vanda's father have mentioned many things in these 4 lines, as we had gone through on the first session of this lesson, that how she was called with, how she was teased with. So here her father says, no more again new names, no more holler Polak, no more ask why funny name. Plenty of funny names in the big city, as there are plenty of funny names in the big city. A deep silence matched the reading of this letter. Miss Mason took off her glasses, blew on them, and wiped them on her soft white handkerchief. Teacher, as usual. Teacher was also shocked. She took off her glasses, then wiped it with the cotton handkerchief. Then she put them on again and looked at the class. When she spoke, her voice was very low. Teacher also felt bad. And again she started speaking. Her voice was in low. I am sure that none of the boys and girls in room 13 would purposely and deliberately hurt anyone's feelings because his or her name happened to be a long, unfamiliar one. So teacher tried that. Nobody had, I think so, hurt Wanda because her name was proper. No doubt it was unfamiliar to them. I prefer to think that what was said in thoughtlessness. Superb English. The thing that was said in thoughtlessness. Can you explain yourself? As you all are not in front of me, I cannot just go through. But I think so, if somebody explain this thing to himself in front of mirror. That was said in thoughtlessness. It's something that has been teased. Yeah, Wanda was teased, and that teasing was thoughtless teasing. Without thinking that what will be the result. Children of class 13 has teased who? Wanda. I know that all of you feel the way I do, that this is a very unfortunate thing to have happened. Unfortunate and sad, both. And I want you all to think about it. And then teacher explained that this was unfortunately that Wanda left the school because of the children of the school, and especially students of the class 30. It was unfortunately, but it was a news of sadness, and each of them felt sadness. And teacher told, I want you all to think about it, and I want that you all think about what had happened over there. The first period was a study period. Maggie tried to prepare her lesson, but she could not put her mind on her work. So there might be a period of study, but Maggie couldn't concentrate on her work. She had a very sick feeling in the bottom of the stomach. True, she had not enjoyed listening to Peggy ask Wanda how many dresses she had in her closet, but she had said nothing. And she even that time also didn't like that Peggy used to ask Wanda that how many dresses she is having. She don't like that thing, but now it pains in stomach. They all feel that what we had done and what the problem is, how the problem is created. She had stood by silently, and that was just as bad as what Peggy had done. She was a coward. Coward, you all know. Big girl, we can say. At least Peggy hadn't considered they were being mean, but she meddled. Had thought they were doing wrong, she could put herself in Wanda's shoes. And obviously, they to and fro, now and then, they used to harass Wanda. And now they can recognize that they might have not done this or uneasy thing, useless things towards Wanda. Goodness, wasn't there anything she could do? If only she could tell Wanda she hadn't meant to hurt her feelings. Now she recognized that Peggy must not have done so. She shouldn't do that thing. Only she must understand that she is hurting Wanda. She turned around and stole a glance at Peggy, but Peggy did not look up. She seems to be studying hard. Well, whether Peggy felt badly or not, Maggie had to something. Peggy had felt or not, but Maggie felt hurt herself. She had to find Wanda Petroniski. Maybe she had not yet moved away. Maybe Peggy would climb the heights with her and they would tell Wanda she had won the contest, that they thought she was smart and the 100 dresses were beautiful. Now they recognize the pain that Wanda was expecting, the pain. Which pain she expected? That pain now they could easily absorb. Now they can feel. And they thought that they will go towards the high heights and find out Wanda and tell her that she had won the contest and the 100 dresses also. When school was dismissed in the afternoon, Peggy said with her pretended casualness, "Hey, let's go and see if that kid has left town or not." Peggy told, "Come on, now we will go. That kid means Wanda, had left the town or no." So Peggy had the same idea. Maggie glowed. Peg was really alright, and now Maggie was also having the same idea, and they were thought she thought Peggy was alright. The two girls hurried out of the building, up street towards Bogies Heights. The part of the town wore such a forbidding air on this kind of a November afternoon, drizzly, damp and dismal, wet and sad, here expressing a state of hopelessness. So now they moved towards the area from where Wanda used to come. The air was little bit different because of November afternoon, and here it says expressing a state of hopelessness. "Well, at least," said Peggy gruffly, "I never did call her for a foreigner or make fun of her name. I never thought she had the sense to know we were making fun of her anyway. I thought she was too dumb and gee, look how she can grow." Now Peggy started that I had never thought of like this all things will happen. She was just like a duffer, a dumb one. And how could she do a superb drawings? Maddie couldn't say anything. All she hoped was that they would find Wanda. She wanted to tell her that they were sorry they had picked on her and how wonderful the whole school thought she was, and please not to move away, and everybody would be nice. She and Peggy would fight anybody who was not nice. Now Maggie recognized that she will find her, they will find her, they will talk to her, they will request her not to go outside, anywhere else. Everything will be fine. And if something is not fine, then Peggy and Maddie will fight for her. The two girls hurried on. They hoped to get to the top of the hill before dark. "I think that's where the Petronics live," said Maddie, pointing to a little white house. Whips of the old grass stuck up here and there along the pathway, like thin kittens. The house and its spacious little yard looked shabby but clean. It reminded Maddie of Vanda's one dress, her blue cotton dress, shabby but clean. The atmosphere, we can see the environment, and the lookout of the house, white small house, was very good. It was no doubt small one, but it was clean, neat, just like that of the blue dress that Vanda used to wear. There was not a sign of life about the house. Peggy knocked firmly on the door, but there was no answer. She and Maddie went around to the backyard and knocked there. Still there was no answer. There was no doubt about it. The Petrovskis were gone. How could they ever make amends here? To make amends, to show that one is sorry by doing something good. But they can be nice by knocking here and there out. That they were no more there. They turned slowly and made their way back down the hill. Well, anyway, said Peggy, she is gone now, so what can we do? Besides, when I was asking her about all her dresses, she probably was getting good ideas for her drawings. She might not even have won the contest otherwise. Now, Peggy says that whenever we used to ask her about her dresses, we used to describe about dresses, she might have got idea of drawing of it, and thus she had won the contest. Otherwise, it was not possible for her, for Vanda, to win the contest. Maddie turned this idea carefully over in her head, for if there were anything in it, she would not have to feel so badly. But that night she could not get to sleep. She thought about Vanda and her faded blue dress and the little house she had lived in. And she thought of glowing picture those hundreds dresses made, all lined up in the classroom. At the last, Maddie sat up in the bed and pressed her forehead tight in her hands and really thought this was the hardest thinking she had ever done. After a long time, she reached an important conclusion. Maddie was too much hurted. Now Maddie was suffering more. She got all the things in her mind when she went to her bed. Everything came. At last she pressed her head, trying to forgive this thing, but she couldn't. Then she decided something. She was never going to stand by and say nothing again. Now she decided, I won't say anything to anybody. If she ever heard anybody picking on someone, means treating badly or something, unkind, unfair, criticizing, many things are there. Because they were funny looking or because they had strange name, she would speak up. Even if it means losing Peggy's friendship, she had no way of making things right with Vanda. But for now on, she would never make anybody else that unhappy again. Now she decided that firmly. I would not tease anybody. I would not let anybody to tease anybody. No doubt, Vanda, they had done very bad thing towards Vanda, but now they won't do so. On Saturday, Maddie spent the afternoon with Peggy. They were writing a letter to Vanda Petronisky. It was just friendly letter, telling about the contest and telling Vanda she had won. They told her how pretty her drawings were, and they asked her if she liked where she was living and if she liked her new teacher. They had meant to say they were sorry, but it ended up with their just writing a friendly letter, the kind they would have written to any good friend, and they signed it with lots of X for love. They mailed a letter to Boggie's Height, writing please forward on on the envelope. And then next day they wrote later, but they didn't write anything else. Just they wished them for Vanda about her drawings and this all thing. A friendly letter was written over there, and the envelope was stopped up. Please forward. Days passed, and there was no answer, but the letter did not come back. So maybe Vanda had received it. Perhaps she was so hurt and angry she was not going to be answered. You could not blame her. Circumstances created. She might have received, but due to anger had not answered to. Then weeks went by and still Vanda did not answer. Peggy had begun to forget the whole business. And Mary put herself to sleep at night, making speeches about Vanda, defending her from great crowds of girls who were trying to tease her with, "How many dresses have you got?" And before Vanda could press her lips together in a tight line, the way she did before answering, Mary would cry out, "Stop!" Then everybody would feel ashamed the way she used to feel. Now, Mary also, but she was thinking more about Vanda. That she is with them, they all are teasing her. She used to stop everybody as Vanda was teased by other children too. Now, it was Christmas. Yes, nowadays we are having Christmas time, and there was snow on the ground, Christmas bells on a small tree decorated the classroom. On the last day of the school before the holidays, the teacher showed the class a letter she had received that morning. Again the time came. What was there in the letter? Let's go. You remember Vanda Petronesky, the gifted little artist who won the drawing contest? Well, she has written me, and I am glad to know where she lives because now I can send her medal. I want to read her letter to you. The class sat up with a sudden interest and listened immediately. Dear Miss Mish, how are you and room 13? Please tell the girls they can keep those 100 dresses because in my new house I have 100 new ones, all lined up in my closet. I would like that girl Peggy to have the drawing of the green dress with the red trimming, and her friends Mary to have the blue one. For Christmas, I miss that school, and my new teacher does not equalize with you. Merry Christmas to you and everybody. Yours truly, Vanda Petronesky. So she wrote later that she is happy. She was happy with them. But the new teacher is not equalized just that of a old teacher, means like even she has mentioned Peggy and Mary for their designs of the blue and red and green dresses too. Now on the way home from school, Mary and Peggy held their drawing very carefully. All the house had wreaths and holy in windows. Outside the grocery, in the grocery store, hundreds of Christmas trees were stacked, and in the window, candy, peppermint sticks, and cornucopias of shiny transparent paper were strung. The air smelled like Christmas, and lights shining everywhere reflect different colors on the snow. So, like as we are celebrating Diwali, Eid, etc., Christian people, most of our foreign countries, they are celebrating the whole Christmas month with full of joy, enjoyment, celebration, and lots of things. More than us, we can say. Boy, said Peggy, this shows she really likes us. It shows she got our letter, and this is her way of saying that everything is alright, and that's there. Now, Peggy says that, oh, it's okay, she likes her, she might have got a letter, and everything is in good condition. I hope so, said Maggie sadly. She felt sad because she knew she would never see the little tight-lipped Polish girl again and couldn't ever really make things right between them. She knew that. Maggie that she won't meet her again. She went home and she pinned her drawing over a torn place in the pink flowered wallpaper in the bedroom. She said the shabby room came alive from the brilliancies of the colors. Maddie sat down on her bed and looked at the drawings. She had stood by and said nothing, but Vanda had been nice to her anyway. Now she can feel that Vanda seems to be very good to her. Tears blurred her eyes and she gazed for a long time at the picture that has been drawn by Vanda. Then hastily she rubbed her eyes and studied it intently. The colors in the dress were so vivid that she had scarcely noticed the face and head of the drawing. But it looked like her Maddie. It really looked like her own mouth. Why it really looked like her own self. Vanda had really drawn this for her excitedly. She ran over to Peggy. When she was crying, she started crying. She watched something. She watched on the face of that drawing that was drawn by Vanda. She superbly, she drew it. That the face looked like same like Maggie. She went to Peggy. She ran towards her. Peg, she said, "Let me see your picture." "What's the matter?" asked Peggy. As they clattered up to the room where Vanda's drawing was lying face down on the bed, Maddie carefully raised it. "Look, she drew you. That's you," she exclaimed, and the head and the face of this picture did not look like Peggy. "What did I say?" said Peggy. "She must have really liked us anyway." And it could be they recognize, they understand that what she had drew for them, and she thought that the girl liked her. Yes, she must have agreed with Maddie, and she blinked away the tears that came every time she thought of Vanda standing alone in that sunny spot in the schoolyard, looking stolidly over at the ground and laughing girls after she had walked off, after she had said, "Sure, 100 of them all lined up." And she could now feel her. She could feel Vanda, and she could remind all the incidents that were happening in the school. She could go through it, and she knew that what happens when girls used to laugh. When Vanda used to say she has 100 dresses. It's a superb story. You all are also teasing to a particular boy or girl in the class, but you can feel what happens to the other person. So, till that, you all are mature one enough. I would like to thank you. Thank you very much. God bless you.